Hello, everyone. It's Adam here, your host of the Baseball World Today podcast. We got a lot to talk about, but before we start, I just want to remind you all that on YouTube I'm making special videos now. So that includes reviewing stuff on Twitter, reviewing film from games in the future, and a lot of different stuff. So make sure you subscribe there. Also, I have another podcast that I have tweeted about on my Twitter. So follow my Twitter as well at the Baseball War WR2. So yeah, let's just get on to the news because we actually have a lot of news and some really big news that affects the entire league this year, and that is first of all the agreement that has taken place with the Players Association and the MLB. So with Corona this year, first of all, they came together and decided the health and safety rules. That doesn't really affect play this year. But what affects play this year is, first of all, we're going to have 7-inning doubleheaders again in case of make-up games. Now, a lot of people don't like this, but I really enjoy this. In fact, I'd like to see this be implemented in the future. I doubt it will, but I actually really enjoy it. So that's one thing I'm going to say. But for the season we're probably could potentially have, unless we start a month later, which doesn't seem to be the case, this is really necessary and important. Another thing is the runner on second to start an inning rule. So just another tacky rule they threw in that no one really wants to keep, but kind of makes sense for this upcoming season. And then we'll probably potentially never see this again because no one really liked it. It's just kind of necessary to end these games. So yeah, so those are the main two. Another thing is spring training is going to be a lot more modified to end it quicker, but that's not really important. It doesn't affect the actual season. What does affect it is two major L's the MLB just took, because there will be no expanded playoffs and no DH for the National League as of now. This could change in the future, but in this agreement, neither of those things came into place, which is a really big disappointment because I've been begging for both those. How can anyone say at this point they want to see pitchers hit in the National League after it being a year removed from having no DH either, from having the DH also? So the pitchers hitting is going to be even just worse. So I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can believe it because the MLB just likes to keep things that no one really likes, but this is really disappointing. The fact that they kept the two things people like the least liked and got rid of the two favorite ones. So that's really annoying. And hopefully this has changed, but again, it really screws a lot of teams in the NL. The Braves kind of took that risk already with Ozuna, but some other teams that I'll talk about in a second, could plan for no DH, and then day before the season starts, boom, there's a DH. So it's really disappointing to see this. I really hope they change both of these, have the expanded playoffs, have the DH. So now we'll just get on to the news. So first of all, Mets are talking to Justin Turner apparently. So this is a really interesting story. But they don't want to overpay, which makes no sense since they were willing to pay Bauer $40 million. So I'm not sure what you could be worried about overpaying for at this point. But anyway, Turner would be a really good fit for them at third base. He is just such a great player, and they have a lot of guys who can play third base. I think J.D. Davis is allowed to play there right now, but I think he's a good but not a great player. When you got Justin Turner, you have a great player there. So that would be a really good get for them. But however, if they do make this move, that's going to change their outfield a lot for sure. So I still think they should sign a guy like Kevin Pillar they already signed Almora, but I just think Pillar is a lot better overall. So I still think if they don't end up signing JBJ, which apparently is still a chance, they should certainly still get Pillar, I think. And that was just a really good offseason by the Mets, in my opinion. But I gotta say, these two rules might impact the Mets the most, quite frankly, because first of all, the expanded playoffs will probably get a wild card, and have to play either probably the Padres, which is not ideal at all. But I mean, that's why I really wanted the expanded playoffs, because we're gonna see one of those teams out in the first before even of playing a full round, which I want to see as many of these games as possible. But also another thing for the Mets is they're gonna probably have to have Dom Smith play a lot of left field this season, which I do not like at all, because first of all makes their defense at first base worse and in left field first, because Alonso is not as good as Dom at first, but he's also significantly worse in left. So also I said Jose Martinez could get some at bats at DH this season, and I think he's a really good hitter. So I honestly think these deals hurt the Mets the most, quite frankly. However, they did make another move, and that is signing Jonathan VR. So apparently it was stated that he was signed with the Reds early this morning. That was not the case, apparently. Stint as long as Brad Hand to the Mets was. But anyway, VR to the Mets, I think that's a really good depth deal. He can play all around the infield. And yeah, I just think that's a really good move for them. Brings in a really good element of speed, and this is another case where having the DH would probably really help them to get all these good players in. But yeah. Now we'll just go on to the last few moves of the day. So Jordan Zimmerman signing with the Brewers, I believe. Yeah. And also something interesting, something that just came out, is Braun doesn't really seem interested, quite frankly, in returning this year. He's open to it right now, but we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Zimmerman, yes, on a minor league contract to the Brewers. I mean, Zimmerman's been horrible the last few years, but I guess it's a good try at least. Adam Duvall signed with the Marlins. I think that was a really good move for them. If they want to have even a chance of competing, they really need a big bat in the lineup, and this is exactly what Duvall is. Nate Jones to the Braves. I actually have really liked Nate Jones in the past. Let's just check what he did last year. Really bad with a 6 ERA, but years before that, I mean, 3 in the twos. So he's been really good in the past. I think this is going to be a really good signing by the Braves, quite frankly. And the last news I can recall is Jake McGee signing with the Giants. Now, the Giants have actually made a lot of good moves this offseason, I think, and they're really starting to improve. And McGee is a really good one, 2.66 ERA last year for the Dodgers. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're putting it together a kind of underrated offseason, quite frankly. So, yeah, that's just another good move by them, I gotta say. And so I believe that is all for today. There's a couple other things we'll talk about really quickly. Dodgers have shown interest in Garrett Cooper. They can pick out whoever they want and he'll be good. So that's just the state we're at. Oh, something else interesting in the new deal is players will have more access to be able to watch film during the game, which I think is really good. And it'll help avoid sign stealing as well. So I think that's actually really good, but we'll have to see how much it really matters. Another interesting signing is Angels signing Phil Gosselin. So Gosselin got off to a red-hot start in spring training, which caused him to make... So Gosselin was off to a really underrated hot start to the season and kind of just lost playing time at some points in the season and just kind of had a solid year. But I honestly think with the Angels, this is a really good spot for him. We could end up really getting a lot of opportunity and having quite a solid year. This is the time of the season where we see a lot of these minor league deals, and I'll look at them where necessary, but I think Gosselin could be a really good hitter for the Angels next year. So, yeah, I gotta check really quickly if there's anything else. I mean, Tigers signed Greg Garcia to minor league deal. I don't think that's much of anything, quite frankly. Yadi is officially staying with the Cardinals, but, I expected that. That's not, let's just say. Rays signed Hunter Strickland to a minor league contract. Oh, be ready for the Hunter Strickland incredible year, everyone. He has been really good in the past, and he's coming back, and he's coming to the Rays. Oof. Wow. It's been kind of a while since he's been good, but if they find any potential in there, I'm sure the Rays will be the team to break it out. So yeah, other than that, we just have a lot of minor things, but if not wanted, I can go over the top 100 list as it comes out. I believe the first part just came out, so yeah, we could do that at some point by request if necessary. Still waiting on Marlon Gonzalez, by the way. I said I thought that would happen within this week, but we'll have to see because it just seems like a lot of interest at this point. So yeah, thank you all for listening. Yeah.